What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. So first things first, before we go ahead and get started, I just want to go ahead and say happy Sunday. Thank you, God, for another opportunity, another day. But man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. And anybody who is new, go ahead and turn on post notifications, hit that like button, and be sure to drop a comment down below. Out of all 5 builds that I'm bringing to y'all today, let me know which one are you looking forward to making. And as y'all can see, man, by the looks of the title and the screen today, I had to go ahead and put together 5 of the most rare toxic builds to use on NBA 2K22 next gen. So the first build, the two-way slashing 4 coming at y'all out of the power forward position. This build is definitely going to change up how we are used to seeing big man play. So once we go ahead and get into the breakdown of each and every build on today's list, just please be sure to follow along key for key, par for par on every single attribute, physical, and even especially when it comes down to the pie charts. As long as you continue to just go along with what I'm showing y'all today, I promise you we're going to get the build names that you want, and also even better than that, we're going to be able to make some of the most rare build names in all of 2K that are going to be very toxic. So coming up, as you can see with the finishing, I'm going to max out that close shot, driving dunk, and the standing dunk, go with the 66 layup, and then from there, that's going to give us 25 finishing badges, max out everything on the playmaking for 14, and then to wrap it up on the defensive end, we're going to end up with a total of 23 badges. Now, in each of these individual makings of the builds, I did decide to go ahead and speed through some of them, just so that way y'all can get all 5 in the most timely manner. Now, once it comes down to the height for this build, really, I wanted to be able to make sure that I was going to be versatile as possible, especially being at that power forward position. So I decided to go with 6'7", and what that does, we're going to be able to get elite contact dunks, play some elite defense, then look at the physicals, y'all. Once you hit 99 overall and get that gym rat badge, we're going to get all of our physicals above the 80 range, including our strength. So as you can see right here, we do get the rim protecting takeover, slashing, glass cleaning, and the playmaking. I'm going to leave it up to y'all, but you will be able to speed boost with the playmaking or even get better defensive stats with the rim protecting and glass cleaning. Let's go ahead and check out the build name. And like I said earlier, we have created the two-way slashing 4, and this is really a perfect comparison of Zion Williamson as well as Julius Randle. Now, this is only one out of the 5 builds that I got lined up for y'all today. So now from here, let's go ahead and take it into the second making, y'all. Just remember, when it comes down to this list, of course, as we go along, you're going to be able to make your own adjustments anywhere on this build, but something that I really want to remind y'all before that. If you make the builds exactly how I bring it to y'all, I promise you, you're not only going to get the best build name, but the best way to set up the build when it comes down to the badges and the animations that are going to be added with it. Coming up at number 2 though, as y'all can see, the Playmaking Paint Beast. I'm telling you, these builds are only going to continue to get even more rare, and also with what they're going to be able to do, in my opinion, I truly believe these are going to be better than any of the current meta builds that everybody is using. So again, let's go under the power forward position, and then once we go ahead and get into the actual pie chart, remember, you can make the same or different builds out of the same pie charts, and the same is going to apply vice versa. You can make the same and even different builds out of different pie charts. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you're able to make these same build names out of different pie charts. So if you want to make your own adjustments, that is why I mentioned it earlier. But now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the Playmaking Paint Beast. I'm going to go and max out that close shot when it comes down to the driving dunk and our standing dunk. I'm going to do the same thing and go with the 66 driving layup. We're going to end up with another 25 badges here. Go with the 62 mid-range shot, and I really feel like not only on this build, but the previous two-way slashing 4, The fact that we did max out the mid-range is really going to open up and spread the floor in all game modes, y'all. You definitely want to be able to be a lethal shooter, especially once you do get a jump shot that is going to be good and timing for y'all. But as you can see, we pretty much maxed out everything on the playmaking except the pass accuracy. On the defensive end, we do get 23 total badges, and remember, there are different ways to go about this build, so if you do want to get more finishing, however, you can go about it that way if you want to. Or if you do want more defensive badges, you can definitely go ahead and switch it up as well. Now let's go ahead and get back into the making. So as you can see, when it comes down to what we're going to be looking like for the body shape on more of the bigger builds, I would really consider burly or builds. Then once we go ahead and get into the height, this is very essential for the playmaking, but also the physicals. So I'm going to go with 6'7". Then when it comes down to the weight, if you want to, you can definitely raise it, or you can go with the lowest possible for the max speed. Remember, this should all be based off of your own playstyle and your preference. I decided to go with the max because look at that vertical paired up with the physicals when it comes down to the strength, speed, and acceleration. This is a very toxic build, considering the fact that we will be able to speed boost, shoot pretty consistently from mid-range, and then also the defensive stats are going to be out of this world. A lot of them, when it comes down to it, are going to be at the 90 range, some of them even 99, so something to really take into consideration on this build. But I'm really excited about the fact that we will be able to get a 99 vertical. But as you can see, the slashing, then we get the glass cleaning and rim protecting takeover. I'm going to leave it up to y'all, but as you can see, together we have created the playmaking paint beast build, and another great comparison of Zion, Pascal Siakam, as well as Julius Randle. Now, this is only number 2 on this list. We got 3 more builds left over for y'all. So man, just let me know in the comment section right now, where are you tuning in from, watching me make these builds? I just want to go ahead and know where the family is tuning in from and coming from. So just know, if you are still here watching, I hope you are enjoying. I hope you appreciate it as well, because I appreciate y'all coming through every single day. But as you can see, coming up at number 3, I decided to go ahead and throw in the rebounding guard build. And the thing about this build is, if you remember, like I said earlier, you're able to make certain builds different ways, and this is one of those builds, y'all. I'm gonna be bringing y'all 2 totally different versions, and what you're gonna be seeing out of that is honestly how we're going to be able to change up what this build is going to be able to do. Now, I'm not going to give y'all any details just yet on what they're going to be different about, but let's just go ahead and get into the making and find out ourselves. So let's go ahead and put this build under the shooting guard position. Then once it comes down to the pie chart, I'm going to go with the one split right down the middle with the defensive end, but also the playmaking. Now, when it comes down to the physicals, if you want to, you can go with the first one, but just to be more all around, if you want to, go with the fourth. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and get into the breakdown, so please just be sure to follow along. As you can see, with the finishing on this build, I decided to go with an 83, max out that driving layup as well as the driving dunk, and that's going to bring us up to a total of 6 finishing badges. Now, for the shooting, I'm going to go ahead and max out my mid-range shot, 3-pointer, the same exact thing as well as the free throw. Then from there, I'm going to go with the 50 post fade for 9 shooting badges. Let's go ahead and move on to the playmaking. So, go with a maxed out ball handle, 79 pass accuracy, and if you go anything higher than a 79, the build name is going to change, so don't go ahead and test it out. Now from there, that's going to give us 17 playmaking badges. For the defensive end, you have to be very specific with these stats in these areas, or the build name is going to change to a perimeter lockdown. But honestly, 15 badges is not bad for this kind of rare build. When it comes down to the body shape, I'm going to go with built. As for the height, you can really go with 6'6" or 6'7". You just have to make a few minor adjustments. Go ahead and test it out and see if you can get it. But honestly, I'm liking the higher height. Now, when it comes down to the wingspan, I really like 89.0, especially with the fact that it's going to help us out even more on the defensive end. But if you want to go with something shorter, just so that way you can get better shooting stats, go ahead and do so. Remember, this should all be based off of your own preference. But look at the physicals, y'all. Once you get that gym rat badge as well as get this built to 99, all of your physicals are going to be in the 90s range, which in my opinion is going to be very toxic. But as you can see, the shot creating takeover is going to allow us to break ankles, or you can go with the slashing, but I'm going to go with the lockdown to help out on the defensive end. And as y'all can see, the rebounding guard build. And I'm telling you, I really like the comparison of Anthony Edwards. But remember, we have two different versions that we're going to be able to make of this exact build name, y'all. So first, let's go ahead and check out next what we're going to be doing to this build to make it differently. So I didn't want to just go ahead and throw y'all the exact attributes as well. I just give y'all a spoiler of what this build is going to be looking like. However, again, we're going to be making it out of the shooting guard position. Once it comes down to the pie chart though, remember, you can make different build names and the same out of different pie charts. With this one, we're going to go with the shooting as well as the defensive, but with more shooting into this build. With the physical profile, I decided to go with the very first one for the maximum speed. Now, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown. So, I'm going to go with a 90 mid-range, 89 three-pointer, and a 91 free throw with a 60. Or if you want to, you can go up to a 64. This should be based off of your own preference, remember. But as long as you're in the 60s range, I'm going to go with a total of 24 shooting badges. Then, once we go ahead and get into the playmaking, max out that pass accuracy, ball handle, and go with a 45 post control for a total of 12 badges. Now, once we go ahead and get into the defensive end, this is what is really going to make the build that much more special and better. I maxed out my interior defense as well as the perimeter. Then from there, I had to go ahead and do the same thing with my steal and lateral quickness. And if you want to, you can max out your defensive rebound. Same thing applies for the offensive, but I decided to go with 63, and that's going to leave us at a total of 20 badges. Go ahead and max out your driving layup as well as the driving dunk. And for the very last attribute, you can go ahead and put this into any area of the build that you want to. Now, when it comes down to the height on this build, remember, this should all be based off of what you feel comfortable with. So what I'm going to do is make this build all the way to 6'8". Now, once it goes down to the breakdown of the weight, if you want to be the fastest, something that I would highly recommend is making sure going with the lowest and then raising the weight back up to around 188, so that way you do not get affected or take a hit on your speed. But for the wingspan, you can go with a 90.0, and for my opinion, this is definitely going to set this build over the top, especially once you consider we're going to be able to get park dunks on this build. And then also, if you add boost, I really feel like the playmaking is going to be even better. But then, like I said, 6'8 and 6'7 are two completely different ways to make this build. The other version was much different when it comes down to the playmaking and the finishing, but this version is really just an all-around, and as you can see, the takeovers are still pretty solid. Let's go ahead and check out the build name just to be sure that we get the same build name as well. And as y'all can see, we have created the rebounding guard, but with comparisons of PG, Klay Thompson, and Manu Ginobili. Now let's go ahead and get into one of the best builds in all of 2K. So I already dropped y'all around 3 builds, 4 if you want to consider the second version of the rebounding guard. So coming up at number 4 or 5, whatever y'all want to consider it, we are making the secondary ball handler build name. But this is not just any secondary ball handler build. I'm going to go ahead and just let y'all know, this is easily one of the most toxic, most rare, elite, all-around builds to use on NBA 2K22 current gen. So let's go ahead and get back into the power forward position. We're going to go ahead and make sure that when it comes down to this build, of course, with that build name, you definitely do want some playmaking in it. Now, necessarily, you do not need to pick a pie chart that does have playmaking, because I have made builds in the past that do not have anything in the playmaking when it comes down to the pie chart and are still able to dribble. So just to throw a little reminder out there to y'all if you want to go about this a little bit differently. But as you can see, with the close shot, I decided to go with a 79. Then from there, an 80 for both the driving layup as well as the driving dunk. That's going to give us easily 12 finishing badges. For the shooting, I maxed out the midi, three-pointer, and the free throw. Went with a 48 post fade, and that brought us up to a total of 8 shooting badges. However, for the playmaking, I went with a 67 ball handle, 85 post control, then 61 pass accuracy. And if you want to, as you can see, we were able to get even more playmaking badges. But what I decided to do is to save them, so that way we are able to still get some defensive badges at that, being 11 in total, and honestly, that makes the build just so much more even better. And in my opinion as well, we all cannot forget that we're going to be able to unlock some extra badge upgrades if you did decide and were able to complete some of the seasons when it comes down to this 2K. So, for this current gen, I believe you have at least the potential to get 5 extra badges from all of the seasons that have come. But honestly, if you didn't, this is still a solid badge lineup. 12, 8, 26 or 21, and then you could get 7 or up to 11. Remember, that takes a huge toll when it comes down to making these builds, so the more defensive badges, in my opinion, the better. When it comes down to the body shape, this should be burly or built to take up the most space and helping out on the defensive end. Go with the height of 6'7". As for the weight, this is a dribbling build, so you definitely want to go ahead and lower it. Then from here, for the wingspan, if you want to, you can go with an 81 or 80.0 off rip, or you can go ahead and max it out, grind it a little bit, and then you're going to be able to unlock the pro dribble moves that everybody wants. Shot creating and the slashing takeover. This build is just super toxic all around, especially with the contact dunks. And as y'all can see, we have created the secondary ball handler build, and I really am liking the comparison of Jason Tatum, y'all. Now, let's go ahead and get into the 5th and final build for y'all today. And before we do this, man, some of y'all have not hit that like button yet, so what I need y'all to do is just that. Let's go ahead and get at least 50 likes on this video. I would really appreciate that. Go ahead and share this video with your family and friends. Be sure to go ahead and turn on post notifications because I'm uploading every single day. And do not forget, y'all, that I just want y'all to know I appreciate y'all, I love y'all, and I thank y'all for the support. Y'all have continuously been coming out, showing up and showing out, and just know I see all the efforts of the members of the Rich Gang family. So let's go ahead and get into the making of the final build. Again, we're going to be making it out of the power forward position. Then, once we go ahead and get into the breakdown of the pie chart. So remember, as always, these should be based off of your own preference, but the one that I feel like is going to be the best for this build, which is honestly going to be a stretch rebounder build, but more of a pure rebounder is what the build name is going to come out to, but the way that it plays is going to be exactly like a stretch big, which is why I call this build the stretch pure rebounder. Now, for the pie chart, of course, I went with the defensive and the shooting split right down the middle. Let's go ahead and check out the stats. So, starting with the defensive end, I maxed out that interior, went with a 62 perimeter defense. If you go anything higher, the build name does change, but for the lateral quickness, go with the 68, then max out your steal and block, and the same thing can be said for both offensive and the defensive rebound. For the shooting, I decided to go ahead and make the mid-range shot to a 74. Three-pointer, going to be a 70 with an 85 free throw. Then for the post fade, I went with a 55, and then finally for the close shot. Max this out, same thing for the driving layup. As for the driving dunk, max out that, and then also the same can be said and apply for the standing dunk at 74 and a 31 post dunk. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of this build now. When it comes down to the height, to be the best shooter and all-around build on the defensive end possible, I would go with 6'7". Now, once it comes down to the weight, this is all based off of what you feel like is going to be best for your physicals. I'm going to go with the lowest, or you can go with 191. Then for the wingspan, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is not going to affect my stats too much when it comes down to my ability to be able to still maintain some of the packages for the dunks. So base it off of your own preference, and as you can see, we will be able to get contact dunks with the slashing takeover, rim protecting, sharpshooting, and the glass cleaning. Just know, man, I'm going to leave it up to y'all, but all of these takeovers are goated. Let's go ahead and check out the build name, and as y'all can see, we have created the pure rebounder build. And if you made it this far, man, I thank y'all, and y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Turn on post notifications so you can see when I upload every single day. Hit that like button. Let's get 50 likes on this video. Be sure to share it with your family and friends, and do not forget to leave a comment down below. Out of all 5 builds today, which one is your favorite and which one are you going to make? Again, man, thank you for the support. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Thank God and Rich out.